I guess welcome to the Node.js Next 10 meeting for November 13th, 2024. We'll follow the agenda that was created in the repo, which was issue number 306. Before we get started, any announcements people would like to share? If not, we'll move on to the tagged issues. I will post the link to the minutes in the chat so that people can add themselves if they're not already. Okay, so the first issue is the ambassador program. That one, I think we've started to onboard some ambassadors, which is good. And I think that we could spend maybe some time working on messages and topics for additional content. Maybe I suggest we move that to the end so we can spend whatever time we have on that near the end to figure out the next steps on that one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we actually need to catch back on some onboarding. We still have one ambassador that we have not onboarded yet, and it's been a while. And there is probably another one that we need to onboard.
That is good. But so let's loop back to that one at the end and we can start to talk about like what kind of messages and stuff like that we can capture to start with, and then maybe get some more feedback on. Follow on from the survey, perf and diagnostics. I guess that was sort of a reminder to say we wanted to do something on that. I don't know. I'd suggest maybe we leave that till the end after some of the others. So I'm going to move that to the end. Corporate Node.js usage stories. I think this is sort of for me, this is one after we've got the ambassador messages set up. That would be a good one to move on to. I don't know if there's any discussion or if somebody wants to start looking at that one. The next one was building a sustainable and healthy collaborator base. So there was the session that you led, right, Marco, at the summit. I wonder if like the next steps are clear having done that.
So first of all, I wanted to see if someone took some notes. So at least we have the minutes from the discussion. I hope someone did. I need to check that, but yeah. So I think like number one, I think it was a success in terms of response and discussion. After there was some good discussions. I think we could repeat it. Maybe next time try to have more participation from collaborators. But my next step would be to like see the minutes and like extract a few points that require discussion, and probably create an issue or add them to our agenda.
Okay, that sounds good. Because yeah, I think we want to like both the survey and the discussion at the summit say, okay, what are the 3 top things we could do to improve the collaborator health, right? Or like something like that. And then that at least gives us something to think about.
Yeah, in terms of points that I presented, I can share the link of the presentation. So like my slides.
Yep.
So we can let me share the link. So at least we can keep track of this. Okay. I will post it in Zoom chat.
Yep, and I'll put it that if it's okay, I'll put that then in the
Yeah, sure.
So just putting it in there and then okay, how that turn out. Actually probably gonna undo that. Right. So if we looked at that,
We have the discussion point where first one is CI. So like from the discussion of CI, there was like it came out that well, we are already doing something with the test uh, reliability work that we put in place. We have also Joey said that there is a command that people should use to figure out or what tests are being flaky without having to to dig in Jenkins.
yep.
And yeah,
I guess the two that came out were like definitely CI and then CI and public recognition, right?
yeah. CI, public recognition, identification of work, where
Right, okay.
Jacob did a few slides saying we should do RFCs,
Yeah.
and he created a bunch of proposals. Uh,
Yeah, like that one is yeah, right. So okay, CI. I'm just putting some of the ones that we can identification of work and collecting, and then there was RFC suggestion.
Funding and not many new collaborators. That we did not discuss a lot, I think, about the
Right.
new collaborators. So this could be a point that we can pick up.
Yeah. Like the identification of work and connecting with collaborators. Yeah, that's an interesting. We could make proposals like, would people be willing to be buddies for people? And like, how would a program like that work, right?
Yeah. Let's see. So I think we, as a extend team, we could pick up the buddy thing, like the identification of work and connecting with collaborators, and concern about not too many new collaborators, because and probably public recognition. So these three we could pick up. CI's been work, and RFC sounds a bit too technical and not aligned with the group, probably.
Okay. So I guess though it sounds like the next step is you'd like to take a little bit of time and sort of put together the overview, and I just took a few notes here, but we can then say, okay, like, yeah, things from these things around collaborator health, what's one or two concrete things we could actually try and champion in this team.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and I agree, interesting information and it's good. The next steps from the advocacy deep dive. I don't think there's anything, we're talking about the ambassador program, which I think is the next step. So, defer until after ambassador, after we complete work on the ambassador program. Okay. Best pro mission topics for digital content, right? So in terms of the ambassador program, I think we could spend, the next little while brainstorming messages and topics, because that's kind of what we promised was like, hey, we'll try and give some guidance to the ambassadors, and also, you know, uh highlight that, also try and leverage that to, benefit the project as well. So I don't know if we already created an issue to start looking at that. Let me take a look. Issue. Okay. Right. So we have this here. So if you want to open that issue, we already had some discussion, we had some brainstorming. I almost think that we should, possibly at this point try working on a PR to PR in, or maybe come up with our top ones and then one of us can volunteer to PR something into the repo, but like that seems to get the most concrete discussion. So from the group we have here, what would our top what's the top thing we think we could get the ambassadors talking about and hoping to close the gap?
I think we can maybe talk to them and ask if they want to promote, for example, the threat model and things like that we have done time ago, like for security, might
Right.
give us some context. I mean, giving account that we have lead on there, right? So makes a lot of sense. But yeah, that might be helpful, building some examples, trying to let the people understand what is covered, what is not covered, and so on, and how to report backs, things like that. While it's more generic, right? But
Yep. I think that one's good. Yeah, like that's a really good one where like we've had some frustrations. There is something that people might not be aware of, and like, yeah, that would be a good way to sort of get out the, hey, here's our take on it. So yeah, okay, I like that one.
So how I would approach this is to have a document where we have collaborators PR their thing, because what I would do is like add, I don't know, TypeScript in the topics that the project would like to be discussed.
Yep.
And like every collaborator that's working on something, they can add their thing, and like there can be discussion on the wording, and then we can like elaborate more on the on the topics.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like would probably be good if we seed a few in. So if we can come up with two or three which are like, hey, here's what this looks like and figure that out. And then you're right, like what we really want is like all the collaborators saying like, here's a good message and having that go through the regular process. But I think kicking it off is probably what we can do to help in terms of that. So I like the threat model one. I mean, like, is there something, what would any other ones come to either of your minds in terms of like top things to?
I think making differences with other runtimes options now. Sorry, maybe something that we do a lot in Node.js and some people doesn't realize outside is like how many like infrastructure we have around Node.js in order to do properly CI testing about, weird versions of kernel, weird versions of architectures and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that other runtimes doesn't do that, right? So that
Sorry
may
to
be something
interrupt.
to
There
cover.
is
Yep.
John that needs to be promoted.
Oh,
So
thank you. Okay.
Yeah, so I was thinking that might be a good option, right? Because that's a good differentiation. I mean, you can run Node in more places than other runtimes.
Right. The breadth, I think, if I summarize, like the breadth and reach, the breadth and level of usage of Node.js, right?
Yeah, and what we support, I don't remember where it is. We have this platform list of different tiers of support. I
Yep.
think it's in the build repo or in the
Yep.
Node repo. I don't remember now, but yeah, these kind of things and explain that to to the community more easily.
Large platforms, large number of platforms supported, how widely it's used. Openness of the project, right?
Mhm.
I think that's another, like, anybody can come and contribute, right? Which is not necessarily the true for some
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, that's also a fair point. I mean, the openness of the project is great, but I think a lot of people are thinking only on like GitHub contributions, like plain contributions or PRs issues, but maybe worth the effort to start talking a little bit more about working groups and teams, which I think it's an easy way to onboard new collaborators, honestly, because it's like more localized and
Right.
focused group, and it's more easy to engage with, collaborators at the end, so you can get a better direction on how to contribute more than just picking issues or PRs, right? That is a little bit more chaotic,
I
I
wonder
would
if that's
say.
almost like another
Yeah.
topic on its own, is like getting to know the project,
Yeah.
getting here, like getting to know the project, getting to know how the project, how the project works, how to get involved, working groups, teams, etc. Right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that's any others come to mind, John? We're just brainstorming, like, what are some top messages we might put into the ambassador program to kick things off? Sort of like the idea is, like, maybe if we can come up with two or three, show what the format one might look like, and then we can, ask for broader collaborators to contribute as well. I think also we may get some great new ideas from the ambassadors as well as they onboard.
Yeah.
But any other, like, things that come to mind in terms of, like, boy, we really wish there was a better understanding of or visibility of X? Like, I don't know if there's anything on, like, ESM or ESM
Um,
CPS side
the
or the
thing that
TypeScript side.
that James talked about, which is like process next, like asynchronous scheduling, which
Okay.
is like process next tick, um, and set immediate. That would be great because we noticed that there is not a good understanding of that topic, and it would be great to have some content on that. I think we can also involve James, that he was interested into preparing some material for next year on that topic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think related to that, there is, I think, like a lot of people who use Node like in 2024, they started to use Node like years ago, right? So
Yep.
they might not refreshes the knowledge, over the new
Okay.
majors things. So there are a lot of things that have changed over the past. Like, for example, now you can run the scripts directly, so you don't need to do npm run. You have the test already library inside. I mean, that's like the big things, but to have like a different ways of use buffer, there is like a bunch of million things that happened, in Node 12, 14, 16, and so on, that was like, changed a little bit like the best practices or the way to do things. And it's hard for the people to find all of that and get refreshed, right? Because it's like split it small things among the years, right? So maybe just having like, this is how we do things in 2024 officially or recommended will might be helpful for the community.
Right. So I've just written down, like, modern Node.js with new features and functions, best practices changed over time.
Yep.
Bring people who may have learned Node.js in the past up to date, right? Yeah, I like that.
Do we want to have something, or would that be included into the getting to know how the project worked? I was thinking also one of the point that was view on the survey is the predictable and stable release. So maybe someone having a topic, hey, how releases in Node.js are working between the stable and stable, life cycle, security update, maintenance, stuff like that. It's not maybe the sexiest topic to address, but I think it's also a nice discussion, especially showing that Node.js does have something around that for big company and everything.
Yeah, I like that. So maybe I'm gonna say I'm gonna change the breadth level of usage and advantage. So the breadth, level of usage and advantages and advantages of Node.js. Because like I think that falls into the like the breadth, the level of use, and the advantages. So in there, it's like the predictable and stable releases from the release process, right? Because I think that anyway, added it into that topic instead of the getting to know how the project works. Because I could almost see like the motivation of one is to like, hey, let's sell Node as a option, right? And the get to know how the project works is probably more about how we bring new people in. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. I'm just sort of thinking, but I'm just trying to find the old issue to what was in there. Next 10 issues. Where's that? Yeah, promotion of recent notable changes. So that's kind of like almost modern. Like getting to know how the project works. I wonder if we could put underneath there that could just looking at some of these other ideas we had was like current initiatives, initiatives, including teaching. It's okay. Promoting the working groups and getting involved to them. That's kind of like, I think that's covered by one we just said. How the project works. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just seeing if any of those we pull in. How to get involved, right? Using the new TypeScript feature knows a specific one and using ESM with Node. So I don't know if we want to get that specific. So maybe there's, I don't know, does that fit under modern Node, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think given the kind of ambassadors that we have one that is mainly focused on security and the other one
Yeah.
is, well, TypeScript. I think it's good to directly add TypeScript there.
Right, okay. So I just put under, I don't know if you're following along in
Yep.
the doc itself, so you can see what I added, but I think
Yep.
that, so if we look, I'm just kind of
So-
thinking like here, if we think about these in themes now, right? So modern Node.
Yeah.
Getting to know how the project works. Um,
So in a modern Node.js, do we want, even if it's not new from a few months ago, but it's still in the last year time frame, do we want to add a new feature that add a good usage like node test, node env, and some of them or that?
right. I think like we don't necessarily, yeah, we could list some of them out. So like, test, just test feature. What other ones would you put in the list?
So this one is really easy and fast to. It will be a really small article, but node env.
Node env, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, And so not part of modern Node.js, but maybe one interesting topic to have an article or discussion about would be managing errors.
Managing what?
Errors handling, because I remember consistent and intuitive error handling was one of the topics that was seen as important on the next 10, with 40% of the people saying that it's important. So maybe it could be an interesting use case to have how to manage like error correctly.
Right. So I think so maybe I just created another theme,
Yeah.
like almost thinking theme wise, like that could go under like Node.js best practices. I do think that that's one that people have said like we should be highlighting things.
Yep.
So I think this would be a pretty good set for sure. The only question I'd have now, we still have a little bit of time. We could actually look at what one of these might look like, right? Like if we looked in, so what do we have in the ambassador repo ambassador? Just oops, this is ambassadors. Probably sure I spelled it wrong. Ah, it's Node.js ambassadors. That's why. So here's the link to the repo. So I think we could, so we've got like the messages for promotion. And then I think we would have like a second level, which would be like, you know, which one would we want to pick to fill in as a, let's just pick the first one, threat model and security vulnerability reporting. So then I could see, like, if there's specific, you know, as we define one of these messages for promotion, you know, it's like the goal might be good to have like a goal. Build, and just correct me or feel free as well to type in if you want to in the notes there, like build better community understanding of the Node.js threat model and how to properly report security issues. We often have people opening public issues in repo versus reporting through HackerOne. And then I don't know if it's like related link. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming. Like I said, if you have any ideas in terms of like what sort of just thinking more like the top level things that we would want that would make sense for each one of these to just get a little bit of structure.
Enter the different.
Sal?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, no. Someone just entered the room, so on my
Okay,
side, it wasn't
sure.
messy. Sorry.
And then like I wonder if like you know, like it's almost like we would want some contact that the ambassadors could talk to on that particular topic, right? Nope.
Maybe we could like have a joint venture with the working group that is related to that.
Right, like in this
Okay.
case, we would, yeah, it would make, like, that's why I was thinking, like, instead of an individual, we might like say, hey, the security working group in general. But you're right, like this one, as we put PR it in, it would probably be good to get the security working group like on board in terms of like, hey, how do you do that? Um, goal. Here, let's just look at one other one and see like if there's other sections that would make sense for people. So if we look at like, I don't know, this one is like Node.js is your best choice. JavaScript runtime. So like, goal is like highlight all of the reasons why Node.js is the best choice for JavaScript runtime. These include and then, we just have some of the like would list all the reasons that you could see. Not sure these in the right or in the right order, but like defines the de facto. I don't know if other ideas come to mind in terms of like the reasons we'd want to highlight. That makes sense, or I don't think we need to completely fill these in right now. But each, like in terms of the messages, does that format fit in terms of like the goal, related links, contacts, any other major things we'd want to include? So if not, my question would be, can we get volunteers to PR in some of these? Like if we all took one and to PR in like, in this format we just had here, PR one in, would that make sense?
Yeah, probably like the first step I would do is document the process of how to like request content. Like, let's open a PR to the ambassador program and say, hey, to propose content to be delivered, you open the PR to this repo, and like we need to have, I don't know, approvals, etc. And then we can do that, and we can add all these points.
Okay.
Um, like in one, maybe one single PR is fine into the repo or the I don't know if we want to use the ambassador repo, or maybe it's good to have it in the Node.js repo, like the points of discussion, because it's open and it's public, and we keep the ambassador repo more private.
Right. Okay. So GitHub. Okay. So yeah. So if we look at the issues, okay, not issues, Node contributing, Node doc contributing, advocacy ambassador program, onboarding, reviewing the content expectations, promoting content. So I'd volunteer to PR in something into that this existing document if we think that makes sense in terms of the process. Like that's our existing doc that talks about the ambassador program. So my first thought would be let's just add in a section on, how do you request promotion, like, and that would be PRing in something in the format we were just talking about somewhere. But you're right that like, should that be in the ambassador repo? Like we actually had it in the README there, right? But that's visible to collaborators, or I think everybody in the org, but not necessarily externally, right? So
yeah, like I would use the collaborators repo just for like checking the content is aligned and nothing
right,
else.
okay.
And we
Yep.
could also like document that. We say, hey, we have this repo, and like it's where the content
Yep.
will be like reviewed privately, and that's the reason why it's private, and everything else we
Yep.
do it in the Node.js node.
Right. Okay. So that actually, like, I think that's the way it's already documented that there is that. So that I guess would PRing in, like, so we could add two things to that existing advocacy ambassador program ND. We could add in a section which is like requesting content to be promoted. Here's the process. And then we could actually even just have in there like messages to be promoted and have it in that same document. That makes sense?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it
so
makes sense.
I'll volunteer to write a PR to document a process, which we can all jump in. Once that lands, then like it would be good to have people lined up to like do PRs. And I think separate PRs make sense because if there's going to be discussion, it would be good to have discussion on the particular theme versus like on all of them at the same time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I will do that on TypeScript, and probably like start the conversation, have some other people to do that.
Right. So modern, like I think it's the how granular do we want them to be? Like I could see, so maybe we want one which is like modern Node.js, and then we could have a subsection of be TypeScript in there, and then we could add additional ones afterwards, right? Like or
Yeah, I mean, we can even like we can just start by one, and then if we see that some suggestions fall into the same
yep,
category, we can like make it more generic and like iterate. But
yep.
I would start from whatever people want to add and iterate from there.
So yeah, it sounds like you're volunteering to do like the modern Node.js with the TypeScript section, right? PR for that. I don't know, we lost Ulysses. I might see if Ulysses is interested. He suggested the threat model and security vulnerability reporting one, so I might suggest he could PR that one in. And then the Node.js is your best choice for JavaScript runtime, getting to know how the project works. I don't know, Jean, if you want to volunteer for any one of those.
Yeah, one of them, to be honest, not really a specific one I do prefer over the other one. So
Okay. Or best practices, you were suggesting that one. So
yep,
maybe.
all good.
Okay. I'll do the one on Node.js is your best choice for JavaScript runtime. And the getting to know how your project works, we can just whoever feels like it. I think, we'll get a few in and then maybe we'll start to get a few PRs and we'll get to see some feedback on those. And
Yep.
I think that sounds good. So, okay, I think that's a good plan. I'll try and do that in the next day or so, the PR on like, here's the process. And then we can start to get, I think we could do in parallel with PRs to add the sections. I can do a draft and then even while we discuss that, like it wouldn't hurt to have PRs to show what they might look like and stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. We do have a
Just
few more minutes. I don't know if there's anything else we want to talk about, but that
I
seems
just
like
had
a good. Yep, go ahead.
one quick topic on my side. Did we remove on the OpenJS calendar the next 10 invite?
Let me look at my calendar. We had to redo
Yeah,
all of the calendar invites. It's in the
yeah.
calendar.
Oh, you are seeing? Because okay, not on my side, which is I have other OpenJS Foundation public stuff, but not this one. So,
Did you update to the new calendar?
oh, is it a new link?
Yeah, if you go to nodejs.org/calendar, it's a new link because
Oh,
somehow the old calendar got deleted. We had to build a
okay.
whole new one. There was
Okay.
an issue here on like they had to all be regenerated. So I think Marco, you would ping me about no longer having calendar access, right?
Yep, I don't have calendar access, and we don't have the Zoom link in this next 10 meetings and in TypeScript team meetings. We will ask.
Okay, I'm just looking at the
And
calendar.
there is an issue open on that on each repo.
Right, calendar maintainers, that's a mistake because you're in the list of calendar maintainers. So, okay, I was just going to see because like we had to recover that list, but you should have been given access. Let me see if I can do that right as we speak right now. Calendar, because I'm Node.js public calendar. Settings and sharing. Okay, so make changes and manage sharing. No. So you have access. So Marco Ippolito54@gmail.com.
Yeah, that is correct. But if I go to the calendar, I cannot do anything.
Huh. It says make changes to events. Are you and you're on the right calendar, right?
So I'm on. This is the link of the calendar. Let me share. Maybe it's the right. Is this the right one?
If it has stuff in it, it should be. But like you can't change it through that page itself. You have to like if you're using Google Calendar and you've imported it into your like if you see it in your Google Calendar, that's where you can edit it.
Okay, let me see. Because from this one, so let me check 1 second. Where's my calendar? Well, maybe we can do this as
Yeah,
soon
we can
as.
do it offline, but it would be good. Yeah, I want to make sure you can edit the calendar and do that. So I'll help you get access and then I'll let you add the links to the calendar in the calendar. It's a good way to force that.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. I needed to import it in my own calendar because I was importing it in my work calendar. So
Right, okay. So if you import it, let me know if you can't change it. Otherwise, I assume you'll update the calendars there.
yeah, I will take care of it. No problem.
Perfect, thanks. Any other topics we should chat about? Okay, if not, we'll see everybody in a couple weeks and talk to you all soon in GitHub and other
Yo.
places. Talk to you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.